Are you ready to escape the loop of your life that you've been living in and create a brand new life? In the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you scientifically what Dr. Joe Dispenza says about how you can do that, and spiritually about how Jesus says the very same thing. Let's create a new you together starting now. I'm Jim Yaw, and I found peace, purpose, and prosperity in my life, and I can help you to do the same. If that sounds like something you want more of, I invite you to subscribe below. Check out the links in the description if you want to discuss working with me one-on-one. How do we get out of the loop of the life we created and create a brand new one? Here's what Dr. Joe Dispenza says about creating a whole new you and escaping the loop of the life you've been living. Scientifically, he says we think about 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day. And the sad thing is about 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts you thought yesterday. He calls it our familiar past. We live in our familiar past. We live on a loop. Right now, I don't know if you can hear it, but there's construction going on in my neighborhood. The road leading out of my house is torn to pieces, and every day is an adventure lately for me. I'm having to go different directions than I've ever gone. I've gotten lost a couple of times in my own area, my own town here, trying to get to work, going different ways because I'm blocked in every direction. But it's forcing me to take new paths, to think in new ways. And the truth is, when mentally we begin to do that with the life that we're living versus the life that we want to be living, when you start taking some new paths mentally, thinking in some new directions, you start to slowly rewire your subconscious, your brain. When you stop thinking the way you've always thought and you start thinking in a new way, you're laying the foundation to change your life. Now, it's too much to go into today, but I have a ton of videos on exactly how to do that if you want to check out the channel here, because it's basically the understanding that a thought will become a thing in your life. This iPhone that I'm filming this with right now was once a thought in somebody's mind. So was your car, so was your watch, so was your house, so was anything that's in existence. Thoughts manifest into things if we think them long enough and we think them along the right path. And I'll go into all that with you in another video. But here's the deal for you to understand today. You do not have to live in the same loop you've been living in your life. You can escape it by thinking new thoughts, which lead ultimately to new beliefs, which lead ultimately to new things in your life. Now, Jesus was saying the same thing spiritually that Joe's saying scientifically over 2,000 years ago. And Jesus said it this way. He focused on the future aspect of this. And he said, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will take care of itself. Now, what is he saying? He's saying, just like we don't need to focus on our past, on living in that familiar loop of our past, and God talks a lot about that in the scriptures as well. He says also we don't need to be focused on our future and how that's going to all work out. Doesn't mean you don't need to have dreams and aspirations and setting intentions and all that. That's part of it. But it means that you really only have one reality ever in your life. That reality is now, the present. You hear me say it on here all the time, but I'm going to say it again because it's a powerful quote that will help you to understand how this all works. The past is history. The future is a mystery, but today is a gift. That's why they call it the present. I love that quote because it captures what time is really like. Time is an illusion. All you ever really have is this moment you're living now. We're in a forever now. And when you start to open up your mind to that, you start to understand the spiritual reality that everything is always happening all at once. Science is getting a hold of that. They're beginning to understand dimensions and all of those things, just like spirituality has been teaching us for thousands of years throughout the deep thinkers and religious leaders in the world that have gone on before us. The truth is all you really have is now. And that's why Jesus also often quotes, and we hear often in the scriptures, be still and know that I am God. What is he saying there? He's saying the key is presence. The key is to stop now, to pause now, and to recognize the power to change your life is now. Here's what's going on in your life. If you're living in your familiar past that Dispenza talks about, if you are stuck in living on that same loop, thinking those same thoughts every day, believing in your same limitations, believing in your same inability, believing that you can't change anything because your job's going to remain the same, your coworkers are going to remain the same, your relationships are going to remain the same, your financial situation's going to remain the same, you're stuck in that loop, believing that's reality for you. Guess what? You're never going to escape that because you're thinking in the familiar past. You're thinking in a reality that really doesn't exist anymore. The past is history. It's gone. It's not in existence. You're living right now, and you're wasting your now energy, your now thoughts on what happened yesterday, on what happened 10 years ago, on what happened in your past. And as long as your energy is there, it's not here to create. And the only place you can create a powerful reality in the present. What Jesus said about the future is true too. A lot of us are futurists. You're worried about the future. What if this doesn't work out? What if I don't have the money? What if we can't make it happen? What if I lose my job? What if? A lot of us live in that what if. A lot of you are like me. Maybe you're a visionary and you live in the what if of what could happen. What about getting to this level of followers on YouTube? How is this going to happen? How am I? And I get caught up in that. Do you get caught up in that of trying to make my future happen before it ever gets there? Guess what we're doing when we do that? We're focusing all of our energy into the future that does not yet exist. Now is all that exists. I'm not saying don't plan. I'm not saying don't look at where you could go and what you could be. What I'm saying is don't live there. You can look at it, but don't live there because you're robbing yourself of the energy and the power of now. Jesus said, don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to take care of itself. Be still, slow down, stop, and know that I am God. Know that I am in control of the now and the future and the then. The past is history. Forget it, Joe says. The future is a mystery. Jesus says, don't worry about it. But today is your gift. That's why we're calling today the present. Live in the power of being present now. And I promise you, it's going to change your life. If you need a little help with that, tell me in the comments now if you want to live in now. And let that be your formal statement today that says, I'm done with the history of the past. I'm done with the mystery of the future. I'm accepting the gift of today. I'm living in the power of the present and see how it changes your life today.